Alright, here we go. We are back with Legend of Dragoon, and I'm going to turn the audio down just a hair. Just a hair. I think the game audio is just a little loud. So turn it down just a little. And I'm sure somebody will tell me if it's too quiet in a little bit when everybody starts showing up, because, you know, I never have an audience at the beginning, so we'll see who shows up. Legend of Dragoon, here we go. Now, I believe we were doing some leveling this week, because we're a little bit low. I think we need, like, 1 or 2 levels? I don't know, let's see what's comfortable once we get in here. Let's see how it feels. We're gonna feel it out. This area is really big. And because of its physical size, it's going to be a little hard to gauge where we are and how far into it we're going, how far we are, where we've been. But I don't know. I do know that there's quite a few paths to take. I want to make sure we check them all out. But I also want to make sure we have enough levels. The last thing we want is to be short levels. With Maru being level 3 Dragoon, I think I want to pull her out. Mainly because I don't want her Dragoon level to go any higher than 3. Actually, now we're past the dragon thing. It might be okay. I don't know. Bloody fuck. She's gonna have to heal soon. They're all gonna have to heal soon. Wow. I need to get my timing down here. Because my timing's horrible today. Oh my goodness. Rose is almost dead. You. Funny bugger. Guard. Bloody bugger. There we go. Beautiful. Alright, that gets us down to 1. Now we can rest. And get some hit points back. Which we kind of didn't have a lot of hit points because when we left, we didn't heal on our way out last week. And that's a problem. So they put us at disadvantage between. But it's okay. Because we can get through it all, and it's not going to be that big of a deal. It's fairly easy to do. Now, as long as we can get them to stop shooting this, not her, to be able to get some real experience, real hit points. They just have to stop hitting Rose for a round. Or 2. There we go. Yeah, go hit her. She doesn't even hit points. She's already maxed out now. It's always easier to hit the ones that don't need help. So the one that needs health now is Rose. And that's fine. She gets the health back. Pretty quick. One more heal for Rose. Alright, 2 more heals for Rose. Then put her back over 1,000. You know what, we got enough time. The way we damage these things tonight. Ouch. Body power. Still having trouble with that silly one. Didn't finish hammer spin though. Alright, it's okay. It's okay. Not that big deal. All I'll do is take Maru out of the party so she doesn't level up. And I'll put in let's put in the old man. Husk will be good for this. He doesn't matter. We're not really using him, so if he gains another Dragoon level, who cares? Same with Alpha. Don't like him. But it's okay. I mean, we started a few minutes ago. Most people don't show up for, I'd say, 20 minutes in or so. So we'll have to wait and see who shows up tonight, if anybody. Not great, but it's okay. Let that rest. Black rest. Oh. That's painful. That's definitely a painful problem. I'll get these timings. Hopefully. Bloody. Before we finish the game. Wow, that hit a rock. Beautiful. Alright, let's do a little bit of resting here. And he's got that, what is it? Fear. Whatever that effect is. It's not a fun effect, that's for sure. But I'll just rest up a little bit. Everybody get a few hit points. That will be okay. I hope. Oh, she should have attacked. She was full now. Alright, so what we have here is a dragon who doesn't want to die. But it's going to die. Missed. I missed. I stinker. I'm a little stinker. Actually, what I should do with him is, because that's because we have to fight. Oh! But this blue one doesn't. So let's use basic Dragoon to get rid of the status effect. See, the Dragoon gets rid of all status effects. So there really is almost no point to the mind and body potions. Because in order to get rid of the status effects, you just use one Dragoon. Yeah, they're gone. And things like the charm go away at the end of the fight anyway, so they don't matter. Oh, lucky is 25. Cool. I mean, Dart is level 28, and frankly, I would like everybody to be around 28, but that would be a lot of grinding. I wish the back party and the front party had the same level of experience. That would have made them way more balanced. Because then the party would all be around the same level. You wouldn't have characters that are 3 and 4 levels behind. Because that's always a bad thing. You have characters that are so far behind. Really? This is the kind of game that makes you wanna get really frustrated. Because the sheer number of times you miss, because the visual cue and the timing cue are not the same. Most of the particular additions. I missed the last one. You can compensate pretty easily, but the ones that have variable speed, such as the one that Dart and Rose both have right now, the timing between each attack isn't consistent. And because they're not consistent from one attack to the next, it throws your timing off. It really becomes annoying because you can't build them up so they don't become more useful. Which is just useless. But it's okay. We work through it. It's really not that big. It's just a minor nuisance. There are worse things in life. And what I have to say is grinding in games like this. Where your grind speed is dependent on how fast you keep your party health. Now maybe we'll actually find a healing spot. And if we do that, we'll be okay. Wonderful. That's just absolutely fantastic. Totally fantastic. Worth it. But here we are. Here we are with Dragoons. Having parties. singing to ourselves because there's nobody in chat today. No one to talk to. Or if there is anybody in chat, they're not talking to me. Acquired Giganto armor. Well, I think we know where that goes. There he goes. He now has Giganto armor. It's actually a nice piece, so I'm gonna go ahead and make sure we save here. But that's fine. We can't save it yet. There's not a save point. But maybe we'll find a save point. Now let's see. Anything down here? No? Okay. So we go this way. That should put me out of the other tunnel. And we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, we will. Ah! Oh, that's fine. Let me know how the audio sounds. My DAW has been adjusted, and my microphone software was updated this week. Well, updated today specifically. So I have not been able to thoroughly test it. But I think it's better. I think I actually sound more normal today and less like a robot. So if that's true, let me know. I think I finally got with this new update to the microphone, I think. Yeah, it has to do with how I have to filter out the background noise. With me having a lot of background noise from neighbors and from outside and whatnot, I have to use semi-aggressive filters. So it will sound robotic occasionally, unfortunately. I hate to say it, but it's either that or you will have this constant background noise that's very distracting. And you can't really hear me, you can't really hear the game. All you hear is that background rubbish. So that's why I have to have it. It sounds a little robotic sometimes. So, but that's okay. I almost sound human again, which is great, considering I'm not, a dragon. So, hey, there's that too. But anyway, so how are you this week? You having a good week overall? Aside from the roughness. Oh, I left. No, but it's been too bad. I'm glad somebody's in chat. That does make me happy. Tired, it was a decent week. Got sick though. Oh, that sucks. Not been sick. I haven't been sick lately, so that's good. Dragon out. Who's that go to? You go with us. Raises maximum hit points by 50%. Okay. I guess that goes on him. Since she's always around, let's see, can she wear the night helmet? No, yes. No, you wear the night helmet? Look like it. He's already got a night helmet. Where's the helmet? I thought she wears. She's a girl. She wears jazz. Yeah, let's take the night helmet's just garbage. Oh well. it's been a decent week this week. It hasn't been too bad. Let's see. What have I done this week? I've pissed off another dragon, apparently. He's not happy. This is from the top of the mountain of Mortal Dragon, of course. That was a magic power. An awful mega magic. Yeah, okay. Someone's grumpy. Whatever it is, that is our destination. Does that not sound encouraging? As if. This is the unburdening. It is unburdening his anger all over the world. The anger towards the winglies who sealed him, and as humans who dominated dragons. Then does this mean that Leningrad was chosen to be the place for the declaration of war? Might be. I saw you play a new game the other day. Which one did we watch? I got a couple of new. If it's my YouTube, I have 2 new videos a week, as always. If it's a stream, then it could have been what came out this week. Last weekend was Shipbreaker. This week was Hack and Slime. Was 2 weeks fast forward. That would have been Hack and Slime. If it was live. If it was recorded, it would have been what did I put out this week? Guardian Legend and Void Terrarium, I think was the other one I put out this week on YouTube. Hack and Slime, yeah. I did a YouTube video on that when the demo came out a couple months back. I was hoping that the first release was going to have more content. Unfortunately, the release was the demo plus some bug fixes and equipment. So nothing really significant was added in that one, unfortunately. Though, I did send in my bug issues to the developer, and I said some of them they're aware of, some of them are not. So that's good. It's always nice to see the developers listen to what's going on with their own games. Let's ditch the Mind Purifier. Total Vanishing. Really? That's so useless. Total Vanishing is such a useful one. Alright, so we are sitting at 25 with Rose and 24 with everybody else, I think. So, real quick. He's 28, she's 25. Let's see. He's 24. I think everybody's 24, 25 except for Miranda, who's just garbage. She can stay at 22. She don't count. I think we want to get Rose up probably to is 26, maybe 27. So what do you think about Hack and Slime? What was your opinion on it? I don't know how much of it you watched, but What was your opinion of that one? I like to hear other people's opinions on the games I play. Yeah, it's a... It kind of reminds me of... what game does it remind me of? There's a couple of them. And it's really unique because it's a 2D side scroller, but it's like a medium pace side scroller. It's not like high speed like a Mario or Sonic game. And it's got the nice RPG elements of like the stats and the armors, and yeah, it's got a lot of the RPG elements to it. But it's not. But it's also very like roguelike in certain elements. Not completely. Like more like a roguelite-ish. Like taking elements from a roguelite, from a rogue game. You know, it's in that kind of category. You know? So maybe, you know, I mean, behavior of the enemies themselves. The enemies, I like the enemies because each enemy had a static behavior. You know, a character would either move, and it only had like one attack. The archers just shot arrows. They didn't move and shoot arrows, they just shot arrows. They sat behind barriers. The bomb guys chucked bombs. They were predictable. The slimes were predictable. I mean, all of the movements were very predictable, like you'd expect from like an 80s platformer. But the variety and complexity is very modern. Ah, I did it again! I did it again! I got to the last one and then blew it. That attack for her is so annoying. I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna get one off. Sometime before next century. Before I complete the game, I will have one off on that attack. I swear. I will get that attack out. Oops, I don't want that one. To at least one. Sorry. So yeah, I like the game. I think it's got some serious potential. The problem that I have with the game is the development pace. I think the developers are moving too slow. Now, I may be wrong on that, and it may be that what's dragging them down is their bug fixes and getting everything mechanically smooth. If that's their problem, I'm okay with it, because it means the level building is probably going to be pretty quick. The other problem that might be an issue is how much story they want to cram in. That will slow down their development time as well. I hope it's... Honestly, I like the light story elements. You know, like I said, they're working on a conversation with the boss. But that's not done. And that's going to be like, when you kill the slime boss, you're going to have a little conversation, and then you can move on to the next floor of the dungeon. So, instead of being in the sewers, you're going to be on the next section. On that first run. And that's good. That'd be good to see. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it develops. I just hope it doesn't stall. So many early access games have like a good strong open, and then they stall for months, in some cases years. And then they finally get off their butts and deploy a release, and it's not the game they started with. Project Zomboid, and what was the other one that was like that? It was Osiris New Dawn. Both did that. They stalled for a long time, and then when they came back, it was not the game they started with. Doing the same thing, a lot of early access games, good intent concept, but they fail. Been a long last. Yeah, and what it is small dev teams. They've got like, hey, I got like 3 people working on this product. We can make it. And they can, but a lot of times they're shooting too big. You know, they're going for, you know, a big 40-hour game release when they should be looking at a 20-hour game release. You know, they're going too big for their first game. They don't have the time, the money, the resources in order to do a large game or an overly ambitious game. So rather than doing a relatively simple to do game, and I think Hack and Slime is a relatively simple game to do. Now that they have all the basic mechanics down for how to load out the levels and all that, and the fighting and the communications, and assuming all of that's like prototyped in such a way that it's easy for them to rapidly develop stuff, that'll make it really quick for them to build out. And those are things that users are getting tired of. Well, like any other genre, roguelike or survival games, what people are tired of isn't the style of gameplay. It's the poor quality of game. So, as an example, a really good survival game is 7 Days to Die. As long as you're into zombie, kick your ass, apocalypse. 7 Days to Die is a really fantastic game. However, at the survival mechanics, a really horrible game is Space Engineers or Imperium. So all of them are survival games. Some of them did it really well, some of them did survival mechanics horribly. It depends on how much the developers put into it. I mean, people are tired of mechanics being used for padding. Not for a lot. That's exactly true. You know, I haven't played We Happy Few. I've heard it was both good and mixed. I haven't played it myself, so I don't know for sure. But I've heard it wasn't bad. Just there was some other things people didn't like in it. But yeah, it all comes down to when games try to beat everything, they can't. They fail at all of that. So like a good example of that is if you look at Space Engineers and Imperium, both of them are space-based mining and Minecraft building type games, and their primary goal is for you to build a spaceship and go do things, do POIs and whatnot. And the way they have it set up is one does things, each of them does things differently, and they're nice little games in and of themselves. But both of them have things that they do really well, really badly. And neither do the survival mechanics well, and they both try and incorporate it, and they shouldn't have. The DLC is lineal and scripted, and it's more fun than the whole main game. For We Happy Few, nice. That happens. There's a lot of games that I loved the DLCs but hated the main game. I absolutely hated the main game sometimes. What's a good example of that? That would be ba, 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 ba. Oblivion. The Oblivion main story campaign I thought was weak. It's absolute garbage, in my opinion. It felt more like filler than the filler. But all of the add-ons for it were amazing. All of the DLCs were fantastic. We disregard horse armor. But, all the actual content DLCs were amazing. The same thing with Morrowind. Morrowind's main story, I never understood the main story of Morrowind. But the DLC stories, fantastic. And then Skyrim's the reverse. The DLCs were kind of like, okay, that's not too bad. They're actually pretty decent. But the main story was actually really good for a change. At least by comparison to the other games. But sure, yeah, so that was a good one too. And I feel the same way in bits and parts of like the Fallout series. I really love the Fallout universe. But the execution of the main and side quests just fall apart in a lot of them. Main story was just about clicking the next point and talking to random people until the game finishes itself. Well, you're not exactly wrong. Oh no, I'm gonna lose Rose. I'm not paying attention. I am so not paying attention. Rose, rest. And... oh, don't die. Just don't die. Since we're leveling up, let's just go ahead and Dragoon and call it and burn them down. Main story is just about click point. Yeah. Really, a lot of games are that way, honestly. I mean, you look at, Diablo, for instance. All the Diablo games, the main story was just how fast can you spam through text? That means nothing to the actual game. I know that the lore junkies love that. But when it comes down to the actual, does this matter in the game? The text was just superfluous. And there's a lot of games like that, where the text just does not matter. And you just spam through it. It doesn't feel like it matters. Like a lot of, even this game, a lot of it's just spam, go to the next POI, spam, go to the next POI. And we don't have any side content like you do in Oblivion or Morrowind. So, there are downsides to that type of gameplay. But there are more ups to it, if you ask me. I like it. I can play Oblivion quite a bit, actually. I think I have... oh my goodness. I think in Oblivion I have probably close to at least 700 or 800 hours in Oblivion. Foundation of the Butcher, seeing the dying man in front of the chapel and seeing a room filled with corpses waiting for you. Okay. When we talk about the original Diablo 1, up through the Butcher, you are absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. And there are sections along the way of the original Diablo that the storytelling was really, really well done. However, most of the storytelling through Diablo, especially in Diablos 2 and 3, the storytelling was absolute rubbish. Like, Diablo 3, I don't even know why it has her. The story was so bad. It was just go here, collect the thing, go here, collect the thing. Yeah, that's the problem with the original Diablo. Is there really isn't a good story through most of the game. I wish it had one. But when it comes to Diablo 2, they were trying something new. So in Diablo 2, they were trying out this whole new online, offline gameplay, where you can play both by yourself offline and with your friends online. And that was a new thing they were trying out at the time. And it really didn't work out fantastically in Diablo 2 until later on, when people realized that you could, when they added in the marketplace. The Diablo 2 marketplace made a huge difference in people wanting to play that game. Diablo 3, on the other hand, while it does have the online availability, it fell apart across the board. I like Diablo 3, it's fun. And I think their season content isn't bad, but it should have been more. It could have been so much more than what it turned out to be. A deep story of something that should have been more simple. Well, and a lot of their story didn't make any sense. Like, your character in Diablo 1 went through all of the headaches and hassles to get down to the pit to save the king, the prince, whatever he was, forget. Just to find out that he'd already merged with Diablo and you had to kill him. And then the last thing you do is the one thing that you know you're not supposed to do. And that's shove the damn crystal into your own fucking forehead. And yet, you do it. And then you become the bad guy in the second game. And it's like, really? Why? The story is just... They tried doing so much with the story, and I think what they did was they did too much with the story. Made it too big, too complicated, and they just kept stumbling over themselves. It's the same problem that Fallout has. It's the same problem that a lot of big sequential games have. The crystals in someone's forehead. Exactly. Exactly. It's just... And they can be destroyed. I mean, in the second one, they can contain them in the Black Soul Gem and then destroy them. It was a thing that they showed they could do. Now, the first guy didn't know that. Okay. It wasn't until years later that was, figured out that was available. But still, there was so much more than they did with the story that just felt forced. It just felt really forced. And it didn't work out well. So it all depends on, how the developers are doing and if the game turns out well. But no, you're right. I have in my Steam collection 10 roguelikes, 15 roguelikes. Yeah, I think somewhere around there in my Steam collection alone. They have like 10 or 15 roguelike games. Some of them are, they're declared as either roguelike or roguelite, L-I-T-E, games. There's like 10 or 15 of them in the collection. And most of them do embody the core elements. They are multi-run games where you can't beat the game usually in your first run, and this is somebody new. We haven't had a wyvern before, I don't think. And if you fail, oh wow, that hit hard. One. I have to. We have to mark this timestamp. We have to mark this with a 1 because I finally got a hard blade. What?
Yes. Go.
That's so bad. That hurt. This wyvern's gonna be devastating.
Devil punch.
Game clear. I know, right? It's horrible. It's horrible. Oh my goodness. But no, I have a lot of them. I have quite a few of them now. And some of them handle it really well. So, for example, FTL is a roguelike game. And based on that, I have, what is it? Derelict Void, Ignited Steel, Long Journey Home, and I think a couple of others that are in that same vein as like best in life. And most of them are really good. Some of them, like Duskers, wasn't bad, but it was unique, at least. And there's a couple of the others that are just really turned out to be garbage. Like I've got one called Rift Wizard. It's almost ASCII type graphics. It's like the original Dwarf Fortress or Rogue game, which is both ASCII graphics. It's that style of graphics. It looks really good for its intended graphical quality. It's really good. But the gameplay is just bad. Just really bad. You know, it's not as good as it should have been. It's one of those games that was written in an 80s style, visual and contextual format, but never got past the 80s how to play a game. Does that make sense? So it's one of those things that it fell flat. And I got, then there's like Low Magic Age, which no, Rift Wizard literally has the graphical style and gameplay of like an early mid-80s computer ASCII style game. It's pretty out there. Let me see if I have a picture of it. Hold on, make it right. Put it this way.
Double punch.
So I can pull up a picture of it and show it to you, because it's pretty out there. Let me see if I can get a picture that's not on Steam. Because it's just easier to get this one. New picture. Random image. Desktop. Blah, 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 blah. Here we go. This is what one level looks like. This is one floor. And the visuals of the game. This is very pleasant. And you've got items on there, like little potion, there's red potion in the bottom center. There's monsters running around, which most of those are. You got little portals, you got little items you can pick up. The wizards are on there somewhere. Not sure the wizard's at. But yeah, this is Rift Wizard. Well, that's a very busy level. Let me see if I can find a less busy level. That's a really busy level. And a more average... Let's see if I can find a more average level. Yeah, here's a good one. Oh, let me change the image. I don't know if the animation. Yeah, here's the animation. So this is an animated GIF of the gameplay. You can see where the walls are. You can see where the monsters are. You can see him casting that little fire spell. It's all turn-based. And so on. It's actually pretty decent. Hey Wolf, how's it going? But it's one of those games that could have been better. You know? It's good, but it could have been better. What you up to tonight, Wolf? Having a good evening? Put that back up so I can see what's going on over there. You're having a good day. I mean, depends on target audience or competitors. Text images more. Honestly, roguelite has nothing to do with the graphics. It really doesn't. No, roguelike is not visually like Rogue. Roguelike means that it uses most of the elements from the Rogue game, which, if you actually look at what Rogue is, it's an open world, go anywhere, do anything game that has multi-run progressional elements. That's it. And trust me, their multi-run progressional elements were very weak. It's like really weak. to the point at which, if you think about it, any dungeon crawler that has multi-entries are roguelike. So like Azure Dreams is technically roguelike, even though it's not, by what they would consider roguelike. People have used the word roguelike and roguelite so much they don't really know what those words. Yes, you are correct. And one of the games that matches that most closely is Rift Wizard. Rift Wizard is one of the few that really covers that Dwarf Fortress rogue style gameplay in the most, strictest sense. Most games they mark roguelike aren't. They're more dungeon crawlers with progression elements. More like Azure Dreams. Or, what's the other one I was thinking of the other day? That's, a progressional dungeon crawler. That's older. But it's a progressional dungeon crawler. And they now want to slap those into this new category of roguelike or roguelite, depending on whatever they arbitrarily think. It's just a buzzword now. It doesn't really mean what people wanted it to. The games that originally have the moniker of roguelike were like Rift Wizard. They were early mid-80s graphics and gameplay. Versus the roguelites were supposed to be ones that took those elements and brought it into the modern graphical and storytelling eras. That was like Faster Than Light or Long Journey Home and so on. But unfortunately, because of the way they distorted the terminology, technically Borderlands, all the Borderlands games, once you get to the end game, qualify as a roguelike game. When you get to when you get to a certain point in Deep Rock Galactic, it turned from being a story-driven dungeon crawler into a roguelike. A roguelike, rather. Because the terms are just so willy-nilly spread around that they don't really have the meaning they're supposed to have, or was intended by the original developers to attract the point. And now they're just terms everybody uses, like open world. What does open world mean? Every game is now open world. But what's the difference between an open world game and a rogue style game, which is also open world? Survival is one of the few genres that you can really hardcore define. You have to have a food, water, health meter that will degrade over time that you have to maintain. You have to maintain your physical health and so on. They can define those. And open world just literally means I can go anywhere and do anything. Even if bad. Even if it's not suitable. So the Elder Scrolls games, they're all open world. Because they're not linear. And you can go anywhere and do anything. No problem there. But they're not really what the people who decided to coin the term open world wanted it to be. They wanted it to be like Minecraft, where there are no quests, no goals. It's just exactly that, an open world that you can do anything. There's no real thing to do. No quests. There's no quests. There's no storyline. There's no nothing. It's just an environment for you to hang out. That's what open world was originally. And the other games were exploratory narrative.
Yes. Go.
That stunk. And there was a difference. There was a very big difference in, what that meant. New Vegas is open world, but if you move an inch out of the determined path, first half of the game. Exactly. In fact, all of the Fallout games are that way. It doesn't matter which one you look at. If you go back to the original Fallout, or you come out to Fallout 4, Fallout 76, or, Fallout 3, they're all that way. They have very planned paths for you. They expect you to go point A to point B to point C to point D. And not to stray from that too much until you get to a certain point in the storyline where they quote unquote cut you free. You see the same thing in Horizon Zero Dawn. You're not supposed to go anywhere they don't tell you to in the second zone. So the first zone's like where you start, maybe area, the tutorial zone, so to speak. And then once you get to that first real big zone, you're not supposed to go too far off the path in that area. Now once you clear that area and you go into the third zone, big crater area, then you're free. Then you're fine. You can do whatever you want, do what you want. But until you get to that point, you're not ready for that next spot. You know what I mean?
Yes. Go.
But in games like Elder Scrolls, which again are completely free roaming, it doesn't matter when you go anywhere, because the whole game scales to your level. If you go somewhere at level 5, or you go somewhere at level 10, or you go level 50, it doesn't really matter because it scales to you. And that is a free roaming game, and it's beautiful. It is very well balanced. Now there are places in like Oblivion or Morrowind that if you go too early, you will get obliterated because you're just not ready for it. But open world and open exploration games have become just open world. And it's a shame that they've just kind of watered down these terms. But we've seen the same thing in everything. You even see it in like music. You go back to the 80s and you said you liked rock and you mentioned Black Sabbath, you'd get your head chewed off. Or if you said that you liked metal and you mentioned AC/DC, you'd get your head destroyed because that wasn't their genre. That's not what they sung. One was a rock band, one's a metal band, one's a punk rock band. One is a whatever. And now it's been watered down to one type of music. You don't see the definitions between music genres anymore like you used to. And we're starting to see the same thing with game genres. Originally it was just, it is an RPG, It is an action game. It is an adventure game. It is a exploration game. And that was our genre. And then they splintered off into like a million subgenres. Like open exploratory and open world and dungeon diving and generational dungeon diving and non-generational dungeon diving, and now we have like one word for 5 genres of game. It's horrible. It sucks. But it's easier to keep track of. And that's what the fans want, I think. And I actually am kind of surprised. I haven't seen Leafer pop in. He's usually in by now. And chatting up a storm. But that's okay. I'm glad somebody's here to talk to. Give me a topic to talk about other than random nothing. Because if I don't have a topic to talk about, it gets really boring in here. That was last night. I spent most of the time with Hag and Slam talking to myself. Like last week when I was doing Shipbreaker. I think the majority of that stream set I spent talking to myself over really random stuff. I had nothing to talk about.
Yes. Go.
It's a shame. I wanted to brag about my one to, you know, I got one.
Double punch.
I got one today. I'm so happy.
Yes. Go.
Game's over. I got my one. The Rose has one now.
Double punch.
Ooh, dead. Anyway. So I got much more rant about genres. But, you know. Now the question is though, what's next? What's next? I said I got Low Magic Age coming up. I'm doing that one next week. That'll be on Monday. So if you want to see another, you know, open world D&D style game, that's Monday. And we have lots of experience to go. And let's see, what's Thursday? Thursday is The Guardian Legend, which is an NES title. So we'll be doing that on Thursday. Next Friday, we're going to be returning to .hack GU, because I do want to finish Rebirth on stream. The rest of that game I might do offline and just record it. But I do want to finish this Rebirth on stream. Let's see. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. Tomorrow, Sunday's like my free stream. I don't always get to do something on Sunday. So don't like to plan too far in advance. But I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I might do like a summary breakdown of my thoughts on Heartspace Shipbreaker so far, up through Act 2. that was kind of something I was debating on. Because, I do want to dig into chapter 3. But I don't really want to do that before I do a chapter 2 review, if I do one. I think I want to do a chapter 2 review of that.
Yes. Go.
I think that'd be fun. Ouch. So the question is, if I did that, would people show up? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm still trying to figure out another, what I'm gonna do next. That'll, yeah, actually bring in more people. New viewers. So I have more people to talk to. I don't know yet. Let me see. Not sure. Any suggestions? Anyone out in the peanut gallery have a suggestion? I'll take it. Because that will help me narrow down what I should do. Oh. Now, I was thinking about doing, Robotech Battle Cry on stream, because those videos have been doing real well. In fact, they're some of my highest watched videos so far. Yeah, Robotech. Believe it or not, Robotech Battle Cry. I did the first 12 chapters of the game. So the first 2 chapters, the first 12 missions of the game, and I've got them going on YouTube right now. The last one ends next Thursday, I think it is. And of all of the videos I have, they've been doing some of them, not all of them, but some of those videos have been doing really well by comparison to the rest of my channel. Like, I normally do reasonably well on, like, stream days, but those have been doing real well, which is strange. Yeah, the first, was it the first episode? I pull it up real quick. Rest. Everybody rest. I mean, I don't get a lot of views on my YouTube channel anyway, so let's be realistic. When I get like 10 views, I'm like overly ecstatic. Let's be fair. You know, let's just put that out there. And the first video of that series, you know, the whole first show of that one, got over 50 views. Multiple comments, and a couple of likes. And I got it, and most of them in that series have had, like, my average, and so far, 2 of the other videos have been over 10. Exactly! But when you look at most of my numbers being, like, 5 views is, like, a good video.
Yes.
And I can't tell you if those 5 views are actual views or if it's me doing things like thumbnails. You know what I mean? Because I do my thumbnails through the user interface. And I end up getting like a view or two because of stuff like that. And I get like another view when I've got to post a video sometimes. So it, you know, it adds like false views when I do that. But so I can account for like 2 or 3 views sometimes. So when I hit like 10 views, I know that's not me. You know, I know it's not me just trying to, you know, work on it and bring in some more people watching it. And then when they hit like 50, I'm like, okay, that works. I can do that. So, yeah, that one's got real high numbers. So I'm thinking I might do that one. And that game's not that long. I think I'm like a third of the way through the game. I think it's like 48 or 56. It's something like that. There's like 48 or 56 actual game chapters in that game. So it's really not that long. And when you figure each chapter is between 5 and 10 minutes, 10 being a long one and 5 being like average. As long as you don't, you know, have to restart the missions all the time, you can do pretty good. Like one of them that I was playing the other day was Trouble in Greystone. And that particular episode was like 10 minutes long, or 15 minutes long. It was like 15 minutes long, one of the longer episodes. And it was long because I kept dying. It took me, I think, 3 attempts to finally beat that one. It was only like 4 minutes, or 5 minutes long. The actual time I completed the mission, it was like 4 minutes. It was like 4 minutes and change. It wasn't a long mission. It was just very intense. And a lot of the missions are that way. I didn't get it. Sucks. I almost had 2. I think I'm gonna call this episode Rose Got One. I really do. I think I might actually do that. Showing off the fact that we got 1 on that particular attack. It's sad, but I might just do that. Anyway, so yeah, whenever you get decent numbers or numbers you're not used to seeing, it's really nice. You know, and I've been really trying to get my channels off the ground, and they're slow, they're moving. It's an important of that. Yeah, it is. How many hours? What, for Battlecry in total? The average mission's about 5 minutes. So, let's see. There's like 50 missions, so that's 250 minutes. Like 5 hours long. Honestly, it's not as long as you think. It's like maybe 5 hours. short. Invasion's long. Now, Invasion, I think it took me 45 minutes just to get through the tutorial area. And then another, like, hour to muck around and get through, the first half of the first zone. That game's like 45, 50 hours long. But Battlefly isn't that long. It's only like I said, it's only like 5-6 hours long, max. It's really not that long. And I was recording it in blocks. So I was recording like, you know, 5 or 6 episodes a day for a couple of days to get through the chapters. So I could have like 2 chapters up and rolling. Well, I was kind of debating if I wanted to do the rest of it live next week, or if I wanted to keep doing recorded. Because the recorded videos aren't very long, like 10-15 minutes long total, including like my intro and outros. But I sit there and talk about the game. So they're really not long at all. Really short. I think that's one thing that people might like about it, is that it's real short, because my normal video is like 30 minutes. And my streams are like 2 hours. And those videos are like under 15. So I'm sure a lot of people like that too. Because it is, you know, real short. But yeah, it's not that long. And what's funny is, like, some games, like, this game's fixed, like, this game, is between that 40 and 60 hour range. And it will always be, every time you play the game, it's gonna be between that 40 and 60 hour range. If you play, like, Chrysalis on the, Nintendo, that game is, if you know what you're doing, somewhere around 2 hours long? I think? Yeah, I think Chrysalis is somewhere around 2 hours long. However, if you don't know what you're doing and you're completely lost and you're blundering around trying to figure it out, you can spend days just trying to figure out where the next part of the story is, because it doesn't really tell you where to go. So it depends on the game. And like, Azure Dreams looks like it'd be a very easy, straightforward, hey, it's an easy game. There's only 100 floors in the dungeon. Just climb it and do your thing and enjoy the climb and just be done with it. And frankly, that game could take you months, like 30 or 400 hours if you're unlucky, just to beat it once. When I did Monster Rancher, which, by the way, I still have not completed beaten that game. I never went back to do the grinding I needed to do in order to finish it. I just like, you know what, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I've got like 100 hours in that game. But I'm playing Monster Rancher 4, and I've got like 100 hours on live stream in that game. And technically, I still haven't beat the game.
Double punch.
Because I couldn't do it in the time frame I had available. And my monsters had to go back to basically level 1 again. Which meant I had to spend another 20 hours leveling them up. And I love those games. I love the Monster Hunter games. Doesn't matter which one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Doesn't matter. I really love those games. But I spent so much time in that game. It's horrible. Especially Digimon World. Yeah. Yeah, the Digimon World series is really bad about that. Well, okay, let me phrase that. Digimon World 1 and 2 are. Digimon World 3 and 4 are not. Because the later Digimon World games, from 3 on, and all the modern games, are standard RPG driven games. They're not creature raising games. They're not Tamagotchi type games where you get set back periodically. But in the original Digimon World and Digimon World 2, it was bad. Especially Digimon World 1. It was the worst. Because you would get like all the way to Devimon, and then you go, and you're done, and you go back to a level 1 Digimon. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times, excuse me, when I was playing that game actively, I just blew my brains out. Because you get almost to the end of the story with Devimon on File Island. And yeah, dude decides, you know what? I'm too old for this shit. I'm going back to level 1. And there you are, level 1. Again. Having to grind all the way up to Ultra. Just so you can go beat up Devimon. Again. Just to fail. And go back to level 1. And start over. I mean, it's just, I can't tell you how many times I did that. It was horrible. But I do have to say, I did enjoy it. But it wasn't an experience I think I want to do often. I like those games, I really do. But I don't, you can only do it just so long before it starts getting boring. Now, if I had a nice, real active channel, I wouldn't care. I'd sit there and pretty much any game and just be chill as all hell. Let's go to town, let's go farming, let's, you know, go play in some farm game like Harvest Moon or something. Not a big deal. But when you gotta be entertaining to get people in and you have nothing to talk about in those types of games, it's really not that fun. Let's make the one in the game starting back from scratch every few days because you have... Yeah, exactly, you're walking taking time bomb. I didn't get to. Now the interesting thing is though, is that once you get your Digimon stats up in the original game, you can beat the game less than 5 days. you know, once you get all the areas, you like 2 months of restarting constantly. You finally get all the areas unlocked, and you can get to the last zone where Devimon is. And you can get all the way there, build up and get all the way there in less than 5 days. Once you've got it all open. Unfortunately, it's like every life you play is really just to open up one section, and then you gotta start over. And then you gotta go like 2 days just training because, you know, you can't do anything else. And then on the 3rd day, you get to go try to make progress. And you may or may not make progress. Then on day like 3 or 4, you're back to the beginning. It's an interesting game loop. Yeah, it's the kind of thing you'd see in like the old Tamagotchis for game loop. But yeah, I liked it better when they actually had story and it was like an RPG. I liked it better as the more of the RPG style versus the creature raising style adventure. I think that it worked out better. I just wished it was more like Pokemon in that respect. You know, more like Pokemon's respect, where you had different monsters that you could raise, but you know, you could pick them better. You know, you could pick your choices better. And the late games, like the Hacker series and the New Order series, are where you start with one Digimon, but you can swap them off with other Digimon, and you can do, you know, other various things to have different pets in your party, which wasn't available in the first game. And the second game was kind of like a mix between the two. But the third one was full on. The problem I had with the Digimon games was the lack of autosave. Several of the games, just if you died, you just game overed. Didn't send you back to like your last save point. Didn't send you back to the beginning of the map. Didn't send you back to town injured like Pokemon did. You just died. Playing Super Sleuth Bells, be a bit jealous being able to choose what it will evolve compared to playing a world where just random stuff. Now, in the original Digimon world, you're right. It was all based on stats. So if you raised different stats, you would raise into different monsters. Like, you could get a Vegemon if you wanted one. You just had to have the right stats in order to get Vegemon. And if you wanted to get Vegemon in, like, Cyber Sleuth, or actually anything after, I think, Digimon World 3 or 4? Because I think 2 was fixed. The Digimon were pretty much fixed what they could evolve into. Like, you got like 2 or 3, and then, you know, we went from rookie to champion, you had like 2 or 3 options. And then when they went to Mega, they had, or Ultra, they had, again, like, 5 by the time you get to Digimon World 4, it was better, but it wasn't, you really didn't have a lot of choices. But you're right, when you get to Cyber Sleuth and you get to the Hacker series and World Order, you have a lot more options in how you control your Pokemon, and how you control your Digimon. Which is more like what the original game was. Where, yeah, you just had to know how to control it in the original game. You know the stats you needed. But it was just a matter of knowing what you wanted and what stats you needed to get there.
Yes. Go.
But at least you could do that. Versus a lot of intermediate games where it was just like, this is my evolution path. You have 2 choices, and then you have 3 choices after that. And that's it. Done. Like, Patamon will always become an Angemon. That's it. You know. It won't become anybody else. It'll always become Angemon. It's like, why? There's other Digimon in his path other than Angemon. But because that's what they chose for the series, that's what you just assumed that you have to go that way. You know? So it's just making it that was the only path that you could evolve your monsters into made it boring. Which is part of why I think the Digimon series for a long time fell out of favor. Because it didn't provide anything interesting or unique. While Pokemon went to, what, 850 monsters now? Or something stupid like that? I don't have to play the game the same way every time. I mean, I have to start the same way every time. But once you get to a certain point,
Double punch.
I can play it a completely different way if I want to. Ow. You know, I can just go, I can go ape and go completely from that. I got 2. I got 2.
Double punch.
My goodness, I got 2. I'm so happy about that. Yeah, okay. So we're doing good there. But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. It's about recruiting soldiers for your party in early Digimon games, attempted to make relationships, monsters, and farming. Right. The original Digimon games were more like Monster Rancher, a Monster Farm, where you had a friend, and you raised that friend, and you went and did things as friends. It was always the same friend, or a generational child of your original friend. Versus Digimon is about collecting different monsters. Or if you look at Imagination, which I've not done a video on, I'm going to do that one, but I'm gonna have to do a longer form video or I'm gonna have to do some more recording on it, because that game you have to get like 4 or 5 hours in to really get all the gameplay mechanics. But again, it ends up being a monster capturing game. It's the same thing with Tales of Symphonia Dawn of a New World. It starts out as a love story and love interest, and you're going on an adventure with your wannabe girlfriend. And you two are a party, and you have a few friends along the way. And you go from that to basically playing Pokemon, building up a demonic army of monsters so that you can either A, take over the world, or B, set the world up for your takeover 20 years or 30 years or 100 years later. Either way, you're going to take over the world at some point. That game is so weird. It's so weird. It's fun, but it is so weird. And the creature capture mechanic is just kind of bizarre. No, it's true. That's the way the game is set up. You're the bad guy. And depending on how you play the game depends on how soon you take over the world. It's so funny. Because if you get the best ending, you decide to, 3! 3! We're at 3! What the hell? Leafer's gonna piss his pants, I think. But you get the best ending. Emil ends up spending the rest of Marta's natural life with Marta. You make the choice to spend the rest of your natural life with her, and then when she dies, you retire from the real world and go back to your monster domain to set up for your inevitable takeover of the world. And the worst ending is you basically say piss up. You basically piss off everybody. I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm gonna blow up the world. And you just take your monster army and just dominate and destroy the whole world. And that's the bad ending. Is you just saying, no, I'm taking my monster army and take over the world. And there's like 7 endings in between. In various varieties. From you rejecting your other half in the conquering half to having everything, both sides of the world. It's really weird. That game is so bizarre. It's such a bizarre game. Though anybody out there who has not played Tales of Symphonia 1 or 2, I do highly recommend both games. They're both really good games. Just be ready for some bizarre stories. Because they are off the chain. What the hell? I think I finally got the rhythm of this particular attack. It's only taken me a month and a half, I think.
Yes. Go.
You know what? I said it's only taken me like a month and a half to finally get the hang of this stupid attack. She's had it forever. I mean, literally forever. We've had it for a tremendously long time. And I'm just now getting the hang of it. It's so stupid. And like Dark's attack, which I got, I think a week later, I still haven't gotten one on. I still haven't got the timing on that one. Watch next week, Leafer will come back, and I will get one. That would be the funny part. Like, next week, Leaf will come back and like, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, dude, I got 4 last week. It's like, oh, great, you fucking hang of it. Yeah. And then from that point on, I just get zeros. I can see that coming. That'd be so horrible. So for anybody who hasn't been here very long, because we have like 5 people on the channel again, which is wonderful. We're currently just leveling up because we came into this zone a bit under-leveled, and we're starting to get where I want to be level-wise. I really want 1 more level, but I don't know how long that's gonna take. So we'll have to look at the actual experience to see where we are. And I'm just doing a horrible job with these spiders. So I should be killing that dragon, not the spider. Yeah, I'm finally getting the hang of that one. Because that's like 5 now. It's been dark. Really? Fine. I'll get to that later. It's fine. The blackout's not a big deal. We just want to get rid of the dragon. Because once you get rid of the dragon, it's just the spider, and we can just do a little bit of resting here. And I think dark's not bad. Yeah, let's rest up a little bit, let Rose get some health back. But yeah. I am hoping that with the new releases with the new push to have more retro games come into the PlayStation Network, that we do get the Digimon games and the like Azure Dreams and a lot of those types of games re-released on the new stream or direct platforms. That would be nice to have those games put back out there. Because they're really good games, but nobody can play them because they're not visible. You know, they're not re-released, they're not available for the general market. And it's a shame. So who's this currently, like, yeah, she's got 5. What the hell? So he's 25 now. How is she doing? Hold on, I'm gonna look at something quick. Where's Maru at? She needs... Oh, she'll get it next slot. Okay, next slot. And then it should be 26. So we're good there. So yeah, I'm trying to think. That would be really nice. I don't know. Maybe tomorrow I'll go play some old Dungeon Crawler game. I wonder if people would come visit. if I was to pull out some old, like, 64 game. Some Nintendo, some Commodore 64 game. That'd be funny as hell. Actually, I'm gonna be getting off in a few minutes once I get back out of the cave. So, but thank you for visiting, thank you for talking. It's always appreciated. And, have a good night. Anybody else who's out there, you're more than welcome to chat. I appreciate the company. But like I said, we're going to be ending shortly. And I just want to get this one more level on Maru, because she is my third for the boss fights. So definitely want to get her. Alright, level. Okay. Wow, she got solo experience. Okay. Replace. We're just gonna grind. We're just gonna walk back from here to do this. It's just, I see no point wandering anywhere else, because we need to have one fight in order for her to level up. And it doesn't matter what fight. She only needs 10 experience points. If I remember correctly. So that's not too bad. It's okay. There we go. That was beautiful. So pretty. Ow.
Yes. Go.
Ow. That's better hurt. She was already weakened. Go ahead and let her heal. Yeah, well. What you get when you're sitting there waiting for a spider to bite your leg. You need to bite it back. But it's okay. We'll get there. Alright, so this should take care of everybody's
Yes. Go.
immediate problem.
Die. Hard blade.
So we're finally getting the handle of Hardblade. That puts her at 6. Oh, I didn't want her to level up that way, but that's okay. Cool boogie. Okay. So that's what Dragoon didn't go up. Which did. Okay, okay. So let's go outside. We'll go ahead and save. And as I said, I want to thank everybody for dropping in, and if you haven't done so, please remember to follow, subscribe, and so on, because that helps out. One, it helps you remember that, when I go online, and two, it helps me out, because lets people know that I'm actually worth watching. So please do that if you haven't done so already. The likes are so useful. And if you're watching this video at this point over on YouTube for the replay, remember to subscribe and like the video. So, as always, my videos are recorded on YouTube for replay value, so people can see the whole game from being done. But not always, same day. In this case, it should be up and running once we close out here. So if you missed any of it, you want to go back and view it, you can go ahead and pop over to YouTube and you can watch it there. I do release multiple videos a week on YouTube, so if you want to see what's out there have going on, that would be a good place to go. So thank you for visiting, and have a good night.